Hey everybody, this is basically our second attempt at this episode because I forgot to click record. I'm still a noob, we're still learning some stuff. I'm Joel, that's Andrea, we're siblings, we hate each other. That's the point. The first half of the video episode, basically, she's just giving me some gossip, some tea that's going on in the world. And then a little game and some other stuff at the end. Anyways, we're gonna jump right in. Andrea, just give a brief little recap, if you will, of what you've told me so far. Or I can give my brief recap. I don't know.
Yeah, give your brief recap and then I'll fill in the
Okay.
blanks.
Okay. So, this is all about the Kardashians this week. We have Kim and Kourtney. Kourtney being the oldest,
Yes.
uh, Kim being the second oldest.
Yes.
Okay. And then we talked about Travis Barker with a B from Blink 182. I made a great little 180 pun. You should have been there. It was
Oh,
awesome.
that's not included in that.
Um but anyways, we talked about how weird it was that apparently him and Kourtney are super into PDA. And that Kourtney didn't used to be like that. And then Travis Barker's autobiography, where he goes in depth about what he thought about Kim, because he maybe
Oh,
dated, maybe didn't date him.
I'll do a quote in case there's someone listening who doesn't know some of the things. So just to give a quote to give an idea, he wrote in his book, "You might think I would be doing the worst things with this girl because of her tapes, but it was the exact opposite of any other encounter I've had with a woman. With Kim, I wanted to be nothing but a gentleman to her. It was so weird." In addition to that, he also described Kim with terms such as, fucking hot and eye candy.
Yeah. So, anyways, we thought it was weird that, I mean, he wrote that in 2015, like before he had started talking to Kourtney. So, like, whatever. But then, obviously, from Kourtney's point of view, having that kind of written history is interesting. And then, where we kind of, and the topic we ended up talking about was the whole thing between uh the Dolce and Gabbana like sponsored wedding for Kourtney, and then the following year it was another Dolce and Gabbana sponsored thing for Kim. Kourtney not being okay with that. I'm thinking this is 1% people type problems. Like, who get, like, Kourtney's point of view? You got a Dolce and Gabbana wedding, you're set, you're good. Who cares what happens after? But then apparently there's some jealousy. Kourtney might find it a little disrespectful, if I remember correct. Kim taking it as a good business opportunity. Kim being the one that, from my understanding, is the one who historically was a Dolce and Gabbana, like, at least in public, was wearing a lot of Dolce and Gabbana and doing interesting things with their clothing. Is that a good summation of everything roughly?
Yeah, so just to give a little more detail for like anyone who's like doesn't know like little finer details, just that when Travis wrote the book, it was in 2015, but then him and Kourtney got um less sorry. In December 2020, he proposed to Kourtney on a beach after they were dating like less than a year. So it was only 5 years difference when the book came out. It's titled "Can I Say Living Large, Cheating Death, and Drums, Drums, Drums." If anyone's remotely interested in reading that. Um, so the thing I was saying about like the whole wedding breakdown was basically Kim was offered to be creative director for Dolce & Gabbana, which is a huge fashion house in case anyone's ever heard of it. Joel is very much aware of the perfume that has
Yeah,
to
I
do
didn't.
with it.
I now that I'm thinking about it, I think I remember there being purses and stuff. I had no idea it was like actually clothes that they did too.
Yeah. So basically, they asked Kim to be the creative director from a runway show that would draw inspiration from their 90s archives. So like all the clothes that came out during the 90s. And because Kim was very famous in basically being able to kind of restyle clothes that Dolce and Gabbana put out in a way, like reinvent them in a way Dolce and Gabbana hadn't really thought about or haven't used in a way. So it was very like kind of like innovative and stuff like that. But the issue arose that Courtney was using Dolce and Gabbana like styling for her wedding. And she felt like it was, like I said, like disrespectful of Kim to accept the deal. Because it would be like it was less than a year earlier she had the wedding. So it just kind of seemed from Courtney's perspective that like Kim was capitalizing on her wedding and making it into a business deal. But then from Kim's point of view, it's like you're just being petty and look at the financial value of this. And we also have to be reminded the main breadwinner of that family is Kim Kardashian, and people do put that a lot in the comments. That like I don't want to invalidate like Courtney's feelings fully, although this is very 1% world like problems.
Well, I was gonna say, so does like do they all live together? Like, does Kim pay for everything? Like, why would it?
So they all now have their own like businesses and stuff. Like Courtney had her own like little brand thing going about like vegan based products, and she's even had like a collaboration like with Gwyneth Paltrow about it. So it all stems from like Kim and getting a reality TV show, and very much of like Kim bringing her family along to the success. But then as the years start going by and the more popular they become and more their personalities are like they get their own fans for each like personal person and people invested in their stuff, they'll start having they had like their own like clothing brand that was for like base the Kardashian stuff that's run by the three sisters, Courtney, Kim, and Khloe. And then Khloe started doing her own kind of like jean line because she is like in like she naturally is I want like more curvy or more like she's taller first of all, and she's just naturally broader, so like her hips are like wider and stuff like that. So she does a line that's more suitable for like what actual women are sized like, instead of just doing like the whole stick thin jeans that like no one can really fit into, or like she's very like accommodating to she's very size inclusive, which is very hard to come by for the time when it came out for jeans and stuff like that. And then Kim has her own like spandex line. So they're all kind of like doing different things,
But
but at the end of
there's basically like I would think there's probably like this power imbalance where like
yeah.
Kim was the main one, and then the other two are just kind of on the side, and then
Yeah.
I'm
And even
assuming there's got to
like,
be some jealousy and all that stuff
and
in
that's one
there.
thing people always comment on, like you guys are really mixing family with work, and that's not going well
I mean,
because
that
also
ship has sailed. I mean, they wanted to capitalize on this, and now this is the grave they've dug for themselves.
well, as far as I'm aware, they all have the same manager, which is their mom. So it's also a matter of like
Oh my God! Don't even you want to get a mother involved in business now? That's all
she's
right.
been
I
like
mean,
people always like say that she orchestrates it all and stuff like that, but it's also like she's and it's not just the three of them because she also does it for the two younger ones, Kylie and Kendall.
whenever I see like a mother daughter combo in entertainment, I'm getting like, this is like what Britney Spears with her parents, right? Was that a thing?
I was also thinking about like Drew Barrymore too. I don't know if you know that,
Drew
but
Barrymore. Do you know who Jeanette McCurdy is?
yeah.
Yeah. So whenever I see like, I would not be surprised if a couple years from now we get like this like autobiography, or like this news comes out that like the mother was like horrible to the Kardashians, and that like the Kardashians didn't actually want to do all this stuff, but it was all the mother. Blah 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 blah.
I don't know how to the extent because it does seem like in this sense it's like maybe Kris Jenner does have a lot of behind the scenes, but I think a lot of the problem that at least they've shown from the show is like who has her attention at the moment, because she's the one who does all the deals. It all has to go through her. So if she has like two sisters having like really big important like events or brands or things happening, it's like, okay, who do I pay attention to more? But they also like they don't really treat her like a mother in some sense. It's very much they kind of like they, in my opinion, they could be a little more respectful to her. But I also like I don't know the behind the scenes
Again,
kind of thing.
I have no sympathy. I mean, this is like maybe you could say they were young, they didn't know what they were getting themselves into, but to base the business off of the family, I mean, that is just, you are
I
complicating
mean,
things to the 10th degree, and then add to that you're stinking rich. Like, you've created your own problems. Like, yeah, but that is, yeah, that's crazy.
well, now it's also bringing up the topic of like, so their brother Rob basically dropped off the face of the planet because he couldn't, like, he was like, I don't want to be in
Hell
like a reality
yeah,
TV. I
power to
don't want to be
Rob,
all of this
baby.
line. And like,
I'm
it's
with
crazy.
Rob. I'm gonna get a shirt. I'm with Rob. That's what I'm gonna say.
He
Hell
could
yeah.
do it, but like it's, and now people are doing like Courtney's gonna do the same thing because this is all leading up to this one big event that happened in their show. Oh, so one thing I also told Hoyt was that since it's Keeping Up with the Kardashians, the show they have, right? Because they are written in as, I think, as producers, I think it's the title, like they have a say in what gets put in the final version from all like the edited cuts and stuff. So a fight that ended up happening was basically when they were reviewing the final edits and stuff, they're looking back at the things they were fighting about. And they're able to see it in real time, like what Kim said to people about Courtney and what Courtney said to people about Kim that they didn't know at the time, but now they're watching it. Like they're,
So how much? I don't. I don't. I have no idea how skilled they would be at scripting stuff. But are they? Do we know if any other stuff is scripted, like the reality TV stuff?
well, like there's obviously like people, I reality TV stars all say the same thing, that especially the ones who always look bad, that it's scripted, it's this, or they twist it. But then people who don't do the bad stuff are like, no, it's not that like scripted. Obviously, some things are a bit more dramatic or they're a bit more like,
They
to some
exaggerate.
degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think to some degree it's scripted in the sense where like producers will kind of like poke the bear a bit or kind of like say, let's redo this scene, but like I still want like genuine reaction so it seems authentic.
I
I
guess
do.
like the reason I'm asking is because I would think, like, if I'm in a reality TV show like that, especially with family, right? Unless they already aren't that close and don't like each other, but I would think like, hey, heads up, I'm gonna light you on fire. I'm gonna talk mad shit about you, like behind your back to this person or whatever. Like, at least just make them aware, like, hey, when you see that this is the shit storm coming your way down the road, like just letting you know. Like, you don't have to even get into specifics,
But I think it also comes down to like, especially what sets them apart from a lot of other reality TV shows is that they've been doing it for so long and they're so big and famous from it. I sometimes wonder if there's a sense of like immunity to it. Like you're just so used to being on camera that you think like you don't really think so much about what you say, but sometimes you do. Like sometimes you're careful what gets said, but then you're also kind of just like, you feel kind of like maybe a bit like,
invincible.
yeah, yeah, like to it, or maybe you just kind of like, or you forget in the moment because they are recording you in real time over like a month, like months worth of like content and stuff. So what they were saying was like, they moved on past it. They had an awkward apology session about how Kim and Courtney's whole Dolce and Gabbana wedding fiasco thing. But then when they were looking at the cuts, that was during that argument, it was like rehashing it again because now they're seeing it and Kim's seeing what Courtney's saying about her behind her back. Courtney's seeing what Kim's saying about her behind her back to like friends and family and all this stuff. Um, so then this show catches on camera a very intense phone call between Courtney and Kim, and they have gotten in a physical fight before on camera.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I think it was something about like Courtney not working as much and because she wants to be stay-at-home mom, but then she still wants to kind of enjoy all the luxuries that come with like obviously being rich.
Hey, don't we all? Don't we all? I'm gonna be a stay. I always want to
And
be a stay-at-home dad one day in there.
like the fam and like Kim was getting annoyed because Kim's such like a workaholic. And I do side typically more with Kim on these arguments because I do think there is some level of just like you can't expect all these luxuries in life if you're not gonna like work hard, because at least Kim is constantly like working and things like that. To but like for example, like there was one time where Kim was having like a birthday party for her daughter North. Yes, that's a name. Kanye West and Kim Kardashian named their daughter Northwest.
I remember that.
And it was
We in our brief recap, we also glossed over forgot about something of that. Apparently they had two dogs named Dolce and Gabbana.
Yeah, I
Which
can't remember which sister it was, but yeah.
Yeah, but I just kind of dropped that like normally, like talking. I was like, wait, what? They have two dogs named Dolce and Gabbana. I mean, if that doesn't show you that they're 1%, I don't know what will.
So going back to what I was saying. Um so okay, so Courtney was gonna fly out like the production team and her security on her own private jet, their private plane for her daughter's birthday party in somewhere else. I think like another country or whatever. I don't know. And Courtney wanted to tag along. So I think it was supposed to be her and I think at the time, I don't know if they were together, her and Scott or her and her kids, but it was her and someone else part of her family. And that because they wanted to get on, Kim was like, okay, that means I have to kick out like security or in like production, and they have to get on a normal like economy flight. And they were like, okay, let's do that. But then Kim was just like, well, we need them to come. This is work related. We're paying for their flights and stuff. And so they gave the bill to Courtney because if Courtney didn't come along, because Kim already paid for everything. She paid for the private plane, she paid for the home and everything. And she told her, like, dude, like, because you came along, you forced my team out of the plane, or like, or like it basically like it put her in a position where Kim had to put the team on an economy flight. And she's just like, you're gonna pay for it because otherwise there wouldn't be this added expense if you didn't want to tag along and go on the private plane with us.
So did she make Courtney pay for the team to go on the economy flight, or for Courtney's people to be on the private
No,
flight?
this is all like Kim's, like her security for her family and for production of their show, their family show. And Courtney was pissed because she said production should be the one paying for it. And Kim was just like, no, why would they pay for it? Because this wasn't like an added expense. I assume it wasn't in the budget of like, I'm sure they probably could afford it, but I don't think it was like in terms of like a pre-planned budget of like, oh, this is an added cost. It's like, no, like Courtney, you decided on a whim that you want to go to this thing and you have the money and Kim already paid for everything else. So now you just have to pay for this. Like, of course you're gonna get the
So how much like who is paying to make this show for the Kardashians? Is it like the network and stuff, or is it Kim herself?
Well, I think the network, like I think for production stuff, the network has their money that goes into it, but because they do a bunch of like a very luxurious, expensive trips, it's like coming out of the family. Like they are very like they pay for each other for like everything. Is usually what happens is like they share the money on things like that, and then anything added for the show is paid by the show, by like the network and stuff like that. So that was the argument because Kim was just like, this wouldn't be an additional cost if it weren't for you. So no, like you have to pay for it. Like you decided to come, that's your expense. You have, and it's also like, I mean, it's economy compared to these people who pay like billions of dollars. Like
I was gonna say, I don't think they could probably buy that entire economy flight.
exactly.
Like, there you
go. But Courtney was bad. So it's things like that where it's like sometimes Kim is really harsh, but I feel like also with given my personality, I tend to side with Kim more because I find Courtney a bit not as open to receive criticism. And I mean, no one likes to receive criticism, but she very much is the type to dish it out. And I don't feel like no one likes to take it, but she very much is adamant against taking it.
So my I guess this might be a kind of slight tangent, but like to ask originally, were they all on board with like the Kardashian show and stuff, or was it that like Kim got too big that they just kind of got swept up in it?
So I think at the beginning, of course, they're all going to be on board for the money aspect of it because even before that, their dad was their dad is the famous lawyer who was a lawyer for O.J. Simpson.
Oh, yeah, I remember something about that.
So like they were already living like obviously not to this level of wealth, but they were living like, their dad's a pretty fucking famous lawyer. And also their stepdad at the time before she became transgender was a famous Olympian. So like they weren't exactly a normal middle class family. Um, but still like the wealth and all of it. And the thing is too, it's like they keep doing things to obtain more wealth. It's not like
I mean,
I don't know their personal stuff, but like I do think if you feel like it's getting bigger above you, you usually take a step back, but instead they do more brands. They do more like they do separate little shows on the side. Like at one point there was a show about like Khloe and Kourtney doing Miami while like the main show Keeping Up with the Kardashians is situated to like LA and
well, I
stuff
mean,
like
I
that.
think like my guess is that at this point it's all ego. Like money wise, I don't think there's anything left. Like if they believe that they need more money, I mean, they are beyond all hope of saving like delusional, like crazy. Like if they believe that they need more money, that's absurd. Uh so like I think it's purely like ego, passion. You said Kim is a workaholic, so this is just kind of maybe this is just her personality, just she just keeps on going. But yeah, there's like financially, I don't see unless again, like all of the money's going to Kim and like Kourtney and like who's the other one? I already forgot her name.
Khloe.
Khloe. Like
Khloe is
if
my
Court
favorite, I will say.
huh?
Khloe is my favorite. I love Khloe. She does the little
She's
messy
the
thing, but I love
she's the
her.
youngest one, right?
Yeah, out of the three
So
Kardashians, yeah.
yeah, relatable, I guess, for you. Yeah, makes sense.
So the climax of this, they get on a phone call, very personal phone call that's like cuts deep. Besides the physical fight, which was about like Kourtney not working as much and she's getting really upset, so she literally comes on to Kim and they brawl. Um, the phone call basically is Kim calls Kourtney to be like, hey, I'm doing this like Dolce and Gabbana like trip or something, and she wanted to invite Kourtney as a kind of a way to be like, let's move past this, like kind of like an olive branch. And then Kourtney was just like, no thanks, like I'm all Dolce'd out, which is a statement. Um,
Wait, so how did who where how did this phone call come out? Was this part of the show?
this was in the show. This was in the show. It was like the recent episode that like came out. And it basically escalated to Kourtney saying, like I think it's like there were still like tensions and still things she's upset about, right? And Kim was just like, okay, so it's about the looks, like it's about the outfits and stuff, because that's what you keep saying, it's about the outfits. And then Kourtney's like, no, it's not that. And she says kind of like, I think it's that you saw this thing, that it was mine, and that it wasn't yours, and that you wanted it. Um, and then
But that doesn't quite make sense to me because Kim was always the Dolce and Gabbana person. If anything, wouldn't it be the other way around where Kourtney wanted it because Kim was always the one that was getting the Dolce and Gabbana attention?
it continues on to where Kim is trying to say like see where I see that's where I think you're really, and then Kourtney cuts her off and says, and you took it and made it bigger. And prior to like all of this, I know she says it later. Okay, no, I'll get to it. But basically, Kim is saying like, no, like I think you're wrong, like because again, it's not based off the look. She's basically saying it's not based off the look because I don't even like how your wedding looks. And she was even telling Khloe, I don't like this about the wedding. I don't like that. I don't like this. So she's basically saying, hey, I didn't base off like this capitalistic move off your wedding because I didn't even like how your wedding looks. So like, why the fuck would I care? So then Kourtney says, you're missing the point. And Kim is, but isn't the point about the clothes? And you're talking about the looks. And then Kourtney cuts her off and is like, it's not about the clothes. You're missing the point. But that's something that also, first, I've watched a lot of seasons of Kim Kardashian. And it is a constant with Kourtney where it's just, she has a lot of things she's upset about, but I don't think she's really like communicative with her stuff. And she gets upset about something, but then she tells that person like, like it's kind of the person's fault that she's upset, but she doesn't really go down into why she's upset. And while there are some times where it's like, hey, I shouldn't have to tell you why I'm upset, like it's pretty fucking obvious, and you just don't care to like actually look into it. there are times where it's like people don't have the same type of like way of thinking. So you can't just assume because it's obvious to you, it's obvious to someone else.
I disagree with that statement just completely outright. Like, oh, you should know why I feel this way. Like, no, absolutely not. We're all different. Our minds are very complex and everybody's different. So it's like, I completely disagree. Oh, you should just know how I feel. No, I don't know about that.
So like because like that's what thing I'm learning as well is that like just because it's obvious to you doesn't mean it's going to be obvious to someone else. And it's also like you're like, especially if you're like an overthinker, you're constantly in your head thinking about this thing.
I was gonna say, like, another thing is like
that.
when people say common sense, I'm like, common sense isn't as common as you think. Like,
it's based on background too. Like common sense is based on your background experiences, and I don't have
people
the same
live
common
very
sense.
different lives. So
Exactly. So this all gets even more heated, where I guess Kim triggers Courtney away because she tells Courtney it's not like the 90s theme. It's not that original. Um, everyone does 90s. It's not a new concept. She's basically going off about the looks again because as far as she's aware, all she's hearing is about the looks. So then Courtney really goes up and she goes like, you're talking about the details because it's all your egotistical selfish mind can think about. You cannot stand someone else being the center of attention. You came to my wedding, you couldn't be happy, you complained from the second you got there till the second you left. That's what it's about. Forget about you couldn't be happy. You couldn't be happy for me. You couldn't be happy that I was the center of attention and you weren't. And then Kim kind of cut her off and was like, what is it that you feel so low of me? Like, what is it? And then Courtney's like, dig deep if you'd like to. And then Kim was like, no, I want you to dig deep and figure out why you hate me so much and why you're so angry with me. Because all of this never happened. I was so happy for you. Why would I not be happy for you? And then Courtney said at her wedding, she felt like Kim wasn't happy for her. But then Kim was like, it's because you have a serious vendetta. You are different, like you hate us, referring to Kim and the rest of the family. Like you hate us, you're a different person. We all talk about it. And it starts getting even bigger because Courtney goes like, I don't need you guys anymore. I don't need to be a part of it. And then Kim claims that, you know, all of Courtney's friends come to her and the rest of the family to say that Courtney's basically like, you know, not is like she's like changed, she's different. They say to the opposite of us about like all this stuff. And there's even a group chat that's labeled not Courtney with all of her closest friends of Courtney's friends with like Chloe and like with Kim and Chloe and all the other members. And she's like, we have to funnel what your friends saying to us and have to figure out why you're such a different person and why you have this vendetta out. And I don't agree with the group chat thing. I don't think especially if it's your sister, no matter what happens between sisters, it's like not anyone else's business to like, you know, I don't think it's really the best thing to like, regardless of what's happening with your sister, you don't try to make her look like a terrible person to someone else.
I mean,
Especially with
and then
them.
you have to also remember that all of that goes out the window because there's not a moment of privacy anymore because they've done this to themselves. They've done this to themselves. Let's not forget.
And while people are saying like, I've seen a lot of comments of people like saying, you know, it's really vile and terrible of Kim to do that. Like, how can you say you were happy for your sister at her wedding when you have this group chat thing? I want to argue the whole premise of Kim not liking the wedding. She said that because she wants to make it clear, at least from like the transcript that I'm reading, she didn't base off her like runway 90s creative director thing off Courtney's wedding because she didn't even like the look of Courtney's wedding. She could be happy that her sister's getting married, but she doesn't have to like the style of the wedding.
That's
And
true.
also,
that's true.
While I do think this is low, I also am a person like I will go low. It's like people kind of like, I'm like, do they not hear where like Courtney just came at her and called her egotistical and like basically like greedy and all these other things and is talking so low about her? And it's just like, well, yes, this was really low of Kim to say because she even brought up her kids. She says that even Courtney's kids come to Kim and talk about their mom and stuff like that, which is low.
Okay.
But it's also like, it's not like it was fully unprompted, in my opinion. It was like, Courtney's trying, like Kim's trying to be like, what do you want me to do? Like, how do we want to fix this? And Courtney's just telling her, basically think about it. And Like, and so then, like, of course, like, Kim is going to get defensive and resort to saying stuff like this. So that's where it basically left off, because like Courtney was basically saying, you know, she's happy when she's not around Kim, and Kim's not understanding like what her problem, what her deal is against him. And the most recent thing is that on Kourtney Kardashian's Instagram, she revealed like a baby, was it baby gender reveal, or like I think it's like a pregnancy like baby shower or something. Anyway, she had a picture with friends, and someone commented, "Oh, I hope those aren't the friends who are in the not Kourtney group chat, because they don't belong there, like to be with Kourtney around." And Kourtney's like, "No, the people in that chat are like," and she lists her sisters, like those are the actual people in the chat, not her friends who are in it. But then people are also kind of like, people can lie, bro. Because also like some are saying Kim could have said it just to make Kourtney feel bad, but it's also kind of like, you can't really trust especially when you're at that level of wealth and when you're known for the drama, like that's literally what your career is based off of. I don't know. But yeah, like Kourtney also called her a narcissist and called Khloe a narcissist.
That's what's the phrase? I love that phrase. Throwing stones in glass houses. Have you heard of that? Where it's like
Yeah.
it's just a bunch of hypocrites just pointing fingers at each other.
So
Okay.
that's it.
I mean, this still to me feels like reality TV. Like, I don't think this has elevated past that level for me of like, oh, this is real. Like, I like there's still a pretty good part of me that's like, they might have, this might be just, again, like an exaggerate. If it's not scripted, it might still just be like an exaggerated thing. Until I see one of them actually leave, I'm probably not going to believe any of it. And I don't know. Again, it all comes back to you mixed business with family. That was your decision. You've done this to yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe because maybe I'm just like too biased and partial towards Kim anyway, but I do think Kim went low, but like Kourtney, like you're not as innocent,
I was
and
gonna say they're all stinking rich. When they want to leave, they can leave.
They can leave.
If they're still there, it's because there's a part of them that does not want to leave. They love the drama, or they're addicted to the conflict, or because that is a thing. People can be like addicted to like the turmoil and the stuff. Like they might no longer be people who are capable of living normal, calm, like under the radar lives. Like this might be what they need now.
Well, I would think more similar to that too, because like the money aspect, like she's married to someone who's like in a famous band. Like, so money, you can't hide behind the money aspect. Not saying that she has, I don't think she has, at least from what I've seen so far. She hasn't been like, I'm only in the show for the money. Like, but she has been like, Kourtney has been so open that she wants to leave. But it's like, why? You've been saying that for how many seasons now? Why are you still sticking around? It's like, because you want to be in the drama, or like, because also you're not so innocent. You also give into the drama. Like you start some shit too for no reason. Like your sisters could be vibing at the house and you just start shitting on Khloe's design choices. And it's like, why are you being so mean for no reason? But if anyone said that to you, you would cry and be like, you're such a horrible person and things like that. So it's.
Oh man. Well, I feel like I just watched I feel like I just watched the season of
We should, when I go home, we should watch it.
No.
We should watch an episode so you get like a full view.
Absolutely not. When Rob's podcast comes out, I will listen to Rob. Rob is the only person I want to hear from.
What if we watch some of the episodes where he's in it?
Oh, he's been in it?
Yeah, when they started up, he was like, he got out of it. Like later on, there was a whole. I'll write that down for my next thing. I'll give you the background.
I definitely want to hear. I definitely want to hear about Rob.
That's a whole thing.
But Rob's the one I'm interested in.
He was one of like, I guess like a cat.
Don't say anything. Really. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. I want to go in blind. All right.
Okay, that'll be okay. I got
that. Was this week's. I don't know, what are we calling that segment? Tea time with Andrea. What are we calling it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Piping hot.
All right. Well, we are now going to move on to the better segment. All right. We're moving on to my segment now. This is a top 10 game. Okay. I will list items from 10 to 1, but I will not tell you what the list is for. You have to figure that out. After each item, you get a chance to guess. Obviously, at the end, hopefully you get it right. You get 3 hints / yes or no questions. So you could either do a yes or no question or ask for a hint. You can't use them like back to back after the same item. You have to wait at least until I give you the next item to use your next hint / yes or no question. Very simple, very straightforward. Let's get right into it. I think this is going to be a good one this weekend. I hope you're ready for this
already. I hate this already.
Here we go. I gotta keep doing my Watch Mojo impression. I hope that they watch this one day and then I get the call up telling me to do some lists. Anyways, in at number 10, Will Smith.
Okay, keep going.
All right. In at number 9, Johnny Depp.
Okay, definitely actors. Older. Keep going.
In at number 8, Harrison Ford.
Older. Okay.
All right. Any guesses? Any inklings so far?
Nope.
Okay.
Nothing.
Don't need a clue or anything. Nothing.
I'm thinking action so far.
Okay.
Like Men in Black, Pirates of the Caribbean, okay. Star Wars.
All right. In at number 7, guess who? Kim Kardashian.
Fuck off.
What?
Really?
How are you insulting me? You don't even know what the hell the list is for yet.
Real? You don't even know what? You knew all this tea. You didn't know about Kim Kardashian? Huh? And like, I mean, you knew Kim Kardashian, but you didn't know about all this tea was happening right now, Hoen?
No, I just picked the name. I what?
Fuck off.
I just thought of someone.
Other actors. What?
So any
Well, now I'm just thinking wealthy people.
I mean, that's like most actors. Do you want any yes or no questions? Any hints yet? No? Okay.
No.
In at number 6, Ellen DeGeneres.
I don't know. I have 3. Okay. Is this about their popularity?
No.
Oh, fuck off. Okay.
Okay. That was your first one. So that's the first 5 items of the list. Now, into the top 5. In at number 5, we have Shia LaBeouf.
Okay, well, the older people thing already went out the window a long time ago. Is it industry related?
What does that mean?
Like, like showbiz, film. Like, is your question, or is it like your top 10 centered around like industry related to like entertainment?
That's a tough question to answer.
Like, like as in terms of like, oh, like the most watched people, or like the most people part of a big franchise. Like,
I'll just clear it out. I'll give you this for free. I'll just say celebrities. The word celebrities is in the title of this list. So I'll just give you that for free if that helps at all.
It doesn't.
Okay, but any thinking about the specific people? Anything coming to mind? Will Smith, Johnny Depp, Harrison Ford, Kim Kardashian, Ellen DeGeneres, Shia LaBeouf. Like, what are some of the things that come to mind when you hear those names,
I thought court cases.
Okay. We're going to move on to number 4. Gordon Ramsay.
Well, now you're really throwing me for a loop. What the fuck?
So we'll say you still have two more because that other one was kind of weird. So we'll say you still have two more questions slash ask for a hint.
Is it something about no? Because that goes into my popularity question. Celebrities. And I can't even be talent based. Is it like most like Google celebrities or something like that?
Is that
I
your
don't feel.
official
I feel
question?
like that's not my full question, but is it something similar of like?
Well, I can't answer it
Ellen
unless
would definitely not
it's
be
unless
Googled
you're
as much as
using like unless you're using one of your full guesses. I can't answer that.
No, keep going. Ignore me.
So you don't know. Okay. So you don't want me to answer anything yet? Okay. In at number 3, top 3 now. Ariana Grande.
Okay. So we have music, we have cooking, we have like
That's what I
TV,
just
like
said.
host.
Celebrities. Celebrities can be anything. So
Why? I didn't even know you knew Ariana Grande. Like, why?
I think she got memed a lot. I think. I don't know why. I know that name. No,
Or like on Reddit or
isn't she the one
something?
with the weird voice? Isn't that her?
High ponytail?
Wait a minute. No, I know where I know her from. She was in what was that one show on Nickelodeon?
Victorious.
Victorious. Yeah. She has the super high pitched voice.
How the fuck are any of them celebrities? Okay. I'm gonna throw little whatever the darts thing in dark right now.
Do you want a hint?
Yes.
Okay. Think about their personalities.
Will
Okay,
Smith
let me
someone.
run through this again. Will Smith, Johnny Depp, Harrison Ford, Kim Kardashian, Ellen DeGeneres, Shia LaBeouf, Gordon Ramsay, Ariana Grande.
What was the hint again?
Think about their personalities.
But you know nothing about celebrities.
Well, clearly these people I do because I put them on the list. So assume that I know about
Because
these
my
people.
first thing was like, who's like the most chill to controversy or who's the highest controversy? But Gordon Ramsay really throws me for a loop in that because like I feel like he'd be like he wouldn't take it as personally. He would just like fire back in like a very like jokey way. No, keep going.
Okay. You have one final hint, ask for a hint or yes or no question. Okay. In at number 2, Kanye West.
Now this really fucks me over. I can't even think of most controversial celebrities. Like I get Kanye West. Do I have like one more question that I can ask?
Yeah.
Is
One
it
more.
wealth related, like money related?
No. That is
Fuck.
obviously a poor question, given I already told you it's based on their personality.
I completely forgot.
That's like a dumb
Personality.
question to ask.
Can I retract that?
After number 1, I'll give you one final
Fine,
question.
fine.
In at number 1, Miley Cyrus.
So I'm just gonna go with this one because I don't want to think anymore. I don't. Celebrities who've had like the most transformation.
No.
Okay, fuck off. Fuck off. I already hate this list. What the fuck could it be?
All right. Top 10 worst celebrities to be stuck on an elevator with.
I disagree. What do you mean?
You want to be on an elevator with Miley Cyrus and Kanye West.
I want to be in an elevator with Miley Cyrus, but not Kanye West. Fuck that.
Stuck in an elevator.
Nuts. You're crazy. You're
stuck in an
crazy
elevator.
Person. Yes. Yes! I
How?
would live for just breathing the same air as Miley Cyrus. Are you fucking kidding me? She's in my top 10 Spotify, like people that I listen to.
I'm
Have
talking
you
about
heard her new album?
personality, Andrea. I'm not talking about you fangirling and like being in
She
their
seems
presence.
chill. She's calmed down, Hoed.
Chill? Chill?
Yes.
The girl who wrote a
Also,
fucking wrecking ball in a video?
okay, first of all, she went through a phase. Okay. Second of all, that's for entertainment purposes. That doesn't mean she's the same person like one on one.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Fuck
So you know
you.
what
Fuck you.
hold on, let me ask. So you know what she's like one-on-one? You know what she's like in private?
No, but given from like the things we're seeing
Look
out,
at
the
that.
things that
Look
we're
at
seeing,
that.
I would definitely feel more comfortable with. She's so cool. Of course I would.
Okay.
And if I
All
live
right.
to
Let's
regret
go
it,
through
I
this
will
list.
regret it happily.
Let's go through this list again. In at number 10. So just to give you kind of a brief rundown here, I thought of celebrities who were either like chaotic, would panic a lot, Karen energy, complaining the whole time. Like
Okay,
that's what I like. Those are the kind of things I was thinking, right? So number 10, Will Smith. Will Smith clearly has some anger issues because of the whole slap thing. I don't want to be, I don't want to. I don't want to know.
Yeah, I feel like
Number
with me, he'd be nice. I feel like he'd
Well, that's what I
be
was gonna.
nice.
I think that's why I put him at number 10. I think he'd be like relatively chill, but there's still that like non-zero
Yeah,
chance
now that I see
he
the
does
violence.
something. So in at number 9, Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp. I don't know if you're up to date. Of all of these people, I think Johnny Depp is probably the one that I'm most up to date with, given the whole back and forth with Amber Heard, where it's like, I think I've come to the conclusion that they're both just terrible people. And they were in a terrible relationship, did terrible things to each other, and then this is where it's at. So he just like, I don't know, like he's
they're both abusers. I don't want to be in an elevator with abusers. That's fair.
Yeah. Number 8, Harrison Ford. Now I felt like I was being a little too harsh to Harrison Ford because sometimes he seems pretty chill, but then there are other times with interviews, specifically like when he gets annoyed. Like I don't know if you've seen any like video of him getting annoyed by like some question that some interviewer asked. He would just give me the kind of vibe that he would just stand there with his arms crossed, just mad. And like
Make it feel like it's your fault that you're in this situation.
I don't know about that, but he just wouldn't want to talk to anybody. He'd just be like so angry. He would just be like I'm over this, like whatever. Man. So it's like, he wouldn't. I don't know how much help. Fine. I don't know how much help he would be. 7 and 6 are kind of interchangeable for me. Kim Kardashian, Ellen DeGeneres, they just give me Karen energy. They just give me like, I can't wait to get out of this elevator. I'm gonna give those managers a piece of my mind. Like they're gonna, and like the entire time they're just gonna be complaining about it and talking about like where they need to be at a specific point in time. Like their schedule's gonna be.
I would rate Ellen above Kim because I feel like Kim would just like panic. Like she would just be like scared. Also, given like her, because she has like previous trauma anyway with like the robbery in Paris where she was like literally held at gunpoint. I feel like that could trigger something where it's genuine fear for her. But I feel like Ellen, especially hearing how she treats her staff, she would be like a Karen. I don't like Ellen.
Yeah.
So
in at number 5, Shia LaBeouf. I mean, I don't know what this man's gonna
do. Yeah.
I don't know what this man's gonna do. He's either like super chill and we're just gonna laugh about it, or he's gonna rampage. Like I have no idea what he's gonna do.
Also, you and I, very different body types, very different heights, different genders. I would definitely not want to be in an elevator with him.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay. Gordon Ramsay. I know that he's like supposed to be pretty chill, like behind the scenes stuff. And I think he's only angry for the cameras. But in my opinion, there's no way that at least some of that anger isn't genuine, because I don't think that it's possible for a person to just turn the switch like that and become someone that they are not at all. Like, unless he's just like one of the best actors ever. Like, there has to be some level of anger in there that is true to him and who he is, in my opinion.
Well, here's the thing. I watched a lot of his shows. Like, I've been getting into a lot of like Kitchen Nightmares and like Hotel Hell and like all that stuff. And when he's angry, it's like I've seen it as just like this is like the only way to respond. Where like I'm gonna get any form of like response from this person. It's like because if I, it's like for example, like someone who's been like if you try to be nice and respectful to them, they're gonna like take advantage of that and be a dick to you. So Gordon Ramsay's just like, oh no, like I know the only way to get through to you is to be an asshole to you. Especially the like he doesn't yell at like people who aren't being assholes, or especially in like kitchen night, not kitchen nightmares. What's it called? His competition show. But anyway, in that competition show, um, he Hell's Kitchen, it's like it's very cocky people that enter. A lot of cocky people enter saying they're like the best chefs and whatever. So he puts them to the test. And for some of them who like they will not get through their thick fucking skull of like at least being humble or being a team player, he like will yell. But then when it comes to like this person, like they're not going to grow as a cook or they're not going to grow as a person if I come at them like that. And there's like a bunch of people going like he's literally like a therapist, bro. Like so I disagree. I love Gordon Ramsay. I would love to be in an elevator with him. Also, he treats kids like, well, anyone would like sweet, but like he very much is like anger is a time and place. So like sometimes I do think there is like some anger, like of course it has to come from somewhere. I just think it's a matter of like direct. I think there's logic behind who he directs it to, and it's just
So,
like,
well, I was gonna say, like, so if he's like on an elevator and it gets stuck, I don't expect him to be like mad at me. I just expect him to
ah,
be like angry. Like, I just
angry.
expect him to get angry and like, again, not necessarily at me, but like start cussing and like, mother, I never trust what like he like. That's what I
Okay,
was
yeah,
thinking.
yeah, I can kind of see that.
That's what I was thinking. Like, I'm not thinking like mad at me, right? Next, Ariana Grande. She would just panic and get like like maybe screaming, like I don't know, and I'd be like I wouldn't know what the hell to do. Uh, Kanye West. I don't know how much I
That's
need to say this.
self-explanatory. It's just Kanye West.
Yeah, no shot. I don't think I want to be near him ever. And then number one, Miley Cyrus, dude, she's gonna like look up, take the thing out of the air, crawl up, and she's gonna be like, "All right, we got to get the fuck out of here, Joel." Or like she'll cut the cable herself or something. Like I don't know. Miley scares me. Like she
What
is
the
a
fuck?
fucking like just live wire. She is like, I do not want to be stuck anywhere in the world with her. Like I like again. The situation is we're in an elevator and it gets stuck. Like she might keep her cool, but she's gonna like want to do something about it. She might be like, all right, Joel, this is like in our hands. We got to get out of here. And I'm like, I just want to wait for the ambulance. I don't.
Here's my thing. I think, well, I do agree she wanted like problem solve. I feel, especially me, if I cuddle in a corner and start crying, I feel like she would prioritize that and be like, okay, let's just wait and see what happens. Let's just breathe and calm. Cause
No
I think
way.
she's
I
still,
doubt it.
bro.
I doubt it. I if
I
if I
disagree.
was crying in a
I
corner,
disagree.
she would be like, "Get your shit together. We gotta go. Like we gotta do something." Or like, or again, she might just get angry. I don't know.
Nah, man. I feel like I have to just mention Final Destination movies and she might get it and be like, okay, maybe not.
I don't
I
know.
mean,
But anyways,
there's no way she's like this successful on her own without having some brain cells, you know? I feel like I could cater to that.
I would make the argument of the opposite, given how like how think about how unhinged a lot of celebrities are. It's like it's almost like a prerequisite that there has to be something wrong with you to make it that level. You think the Kardashians would be what they are if they were just normal, like chill people? Like,
I
no.
would listen. I would take Miley Cyrus off this list entirely. I disagree with you wholeheartedly. I do believe the number two spots, the number one and number two spots should definitely go to Kanye West and Shia LaBeouf, though. Out of the people listed, at least from
Yeah.
my perspective, I would not.
I can see Shia LaBeouf also being like a like, all right, we gotta go, we gotta do something.
I think that man would be on something and he would do the let's cut this wire, we'll hold on to it, it'll propel us upwards. And I'm like, are you here? Are you like here with me in
oh
this
man.
world? Like,
But
are we both on the same planet?
yeah, so that was my little top 10 game. that was pretty fun to put together. I was like actually picturing myself in the elevator with these people, and I'm like, yeah, I can see that.
No, I was too. When you're saying it, I was like, how would they treat me? Like, how would?
So that's where I'm at. Okay, so that's been my top 10 game. Next week I'll see if I can top that. I don't know if that's gonna be tough. Finally, the final portion of this, some miscellaneous stuff. We're gonna continue the trend of me listening to a BTS song for the first time and trying to describe it, and then having Andrea guess what song it is. So Andrea put together a list. Excuse me. Put together a list of BTS songs, and I just pick one at random, listen to it, and then we'll see if she can guess which song I listened to. So first off, before I go into depth about the song specifically, I kind of just want to give a little brief thought that I had with K-pop in general. So I thought K-pop would literally be like, okay, this is pop music for like Korea or like the Asian like area, right? What it sounds like to me now, having listened to a few BTS songs, it's like it literally sounds like you just took pop music from the US and just put it in Korea. And like, if the thought that I had was, imagine if boy bands were big today, like in the US. Like, that's where, to me, it sounds very similar. It's like, oh, okay, K-pop sounds like if boy bands were like big today in the US. Like, I could see that. So I completely understand why they have the following they do, because there are people that are obsessed with boy bands back in the day, NSYNC, like it was like a global phenomenon, these boy bands. So like I could totally understand like the massive following that K-pop has. I just thought it would have like, it would sound more Asian, like maybe some instruments that are used in Asia that aren't really used in the US or something like that. But it's literally like, no, it's literally just pop.
Yeah, so it's literally just Korean pop. It's pop music, but Korean, and it's very well known that K-pop industry is heavily influenced by Western culture, like US, like hip hop. Obviously, where does it come from? The US. Like the US is like the big like proponent for like very much their setup. And when you were saying like the maybe I'll just tell you to listen to the song, just not even as a guessing thing. When you were saying of using their own instruments, funny enough, when BTS got really big in the US, like they were attending the American Music Awards, they produced their single for their album, which is like the main leading song for the album. It was called Idol, and it used Korean instruments, and it was to make a statement that because people were saying, oh, they're trying to cater to the US now. It's like they're above being Korean. So the song is basically about like they're saying like you can't stop me from loving myself, and like their roots, and they use the instrument, which also isn't catered to like American ears, like it's because it's not instruments we know. And they performed that at the American Music Awards to kind of basically be like at our, because that's like they're reaching like very famous heights that no artists has ever reached before. They're like at the height we're at now, which is like obviously now modern times they're even higher. They're like, we're still keeping with our roots despite like how you're thinking that we're so big and famous because of our outreach we're basically getting in the US. But the biggest debut we have, it's still tied to our roots. So I'll actually, because it's a trippy song, because it also like the music video does everything everyone had the stereotype towards like K-pop of like it's bright, it's colorful, it's explosion. So obviously, if you want to cater to US, you want to conform to them and not be like that. But the music video is not like that. They're like, oh, you think that's what K-pop is? Okay, we'll give it to you. We'll give you these crazy things.
From like the Asian sound point of view, like I've grown up watching anime, like already hearing like Asian composers composing music for anime. So like I'm pretty sure like if like I think I could probably get into some of their like actual like when they're using like instruments specific from like
You
Korea or stuff.
probably can. Some of there is because also the thing is like they all like all of like majority of them, if not all, like they play instruments. They like to very much be in it. And there's like one of the rappers even has another song where it's literally the name of it is like the title is a Korean instrument. And he just uses wordplay a lot with it.
Nice. Okay. But yeah, so anyways, that was my brief little overview of K-pop in general. Going back to BTS specifically. So this song I listened to, right?
Yeah.
I listened to it twice to kind of like try to think of like something good to say. So or like not good about the song, just to have good things to say to try and get you to guess what I listened to.
Uh-huh.
Because pop in general is probably the genre that sounds the most similar to me, where it's like
Mm-hmm.
I could not tell you who sang what. It all just sounds like so similar. Um, and like there are good pop songs. It's just like, to me, the good pop songs are the ones that stand out.
The
And
standard,
it's
yeah.
like, if they don't stand out, I'm just not gonna like. So the reason that I had that whole thought about like, oh, this is just like US pop is because this is really hard for me to describe as like, this sounds like a very
This is
just
like the
pop.
like a standard pop song,
This
yeah.
sounds like the standard pop song that you would hear like at the end of like this high school teen drama movie, like when the credits start or something. I don't know. So like that's why I'm like struggling to try and identify how the hell do I say this. Okay, so my best bets are number one. I think most of the song is just one guy singing. I think there's like two little rap sections where I think it might be a different guy, but I think most of the song is just one guy singing. And I think, are there any girls in the group BTS?
No, but some of
Because
them
I
have
could have,
really
because
nice
I could
voice.
have sworn I heard some like woman's vocals in the background. I don't know if
There's
she.
there's one well, there's two actually of the members who their range, one of them has a very unique voice, who's my favorite, Jimin. His pitch is really high, like he can hit some crazy notes. And it does sound like more feminine, and Jin also can hit some notes where it can make him sound a little more feminine too. I don't know
Okay.
who specifically you heard, but those two, yeah, they use them for some things like that. That's,
Um,
yeah, from the
but
ones
yeah,
I
so like
put, there shouldn't be.
so I think it was mostly one guy. I think there might have been some woman vocals. Um, by the end of the second time I listened to it, it's definitely started getting a little more catchy. I definitely like the sound of it a little more. Um, but yeah, I mean, this was like, to me, this was like as like generic pop as possible. So it was really hard to like find a way to describe that. But yeah, then let's see if you can guess based off of that.
Okay.
So
My okay.
what are the ones that are coming to mind?
Save Me. If it's more like I feel like friendship, like softer ballad, Spring Day, My Universe, and I feel like Autumn Leaves is, I don't know if I'd say it's like pop.
It definitely wasn't like hype. I wouldn't say it was like hype.
Because then I'm also thinking like Dreamers, because if especially if you feel like it was like one person's voice, like Dreamers is literally only one member, and but I don't think there's like a rap in it.
I was gonna say I'm pretty sure most of it was one guy. Maybe like the rap sections was someone different, maybe. Um, but yeah, and then maybe a girl's vocals. Yeah.
I'm gonna go for my. Oh wait, no, I'm gonna go with my gut here. I'm gonna go with an old time classic, as Army knows, Spring Day.
Holy shit! Yeah.
Yep. I know my Spring Day. Well, Spring Day, funny enough, every year, it came out in like 2016. Every fucking year, whenever a new single comes out, Spring Day always charts on like the Billboard 100 because it's just that like people love that song. So I know we have short time, but I'll just give you a brief background about it too. What's interesting about this song in particular is that they're referencing an incident that happened in Korea where a bunch of school children got on a ferry boat. And because Korea has an issue at the time, I don't know now, of cutting costs and using cheap materials, the ferry boat ended up like collapsing. So it drowned all the kids and students in it. And in the music video, they talk about missing a friend, and they even used, there's like a little like blossom tree, and tied to it are the type of shoes that the kids wear to go to school. So the
Holy
BTS isn't
shit!
known to be controversial, and it's also in Korea. You don't make political statements like that. You don't go against the government. So they're always open about like you can interpret it however you want, but there was a like it's the ocean. It's talking about missing a friend, and it has the shoes. So people were like, this is basically BTS's way of calling out the government for what they did wrong.
Damn,
And
respect to them. That's awesome.
mhm.
That's sick. Okay. But yeah, damn, you're 2 for 2. You guessed last week, you guessed this week. I mean, you know your BTS.
Yeah, I knew Spring Day. I was like, I felt it. I was like, it's you, I love Spring Day.
All
It does
right.
make me cry. It makes me cry because like the music video, the
I'll just
backstory.
say I watched the music video both times, and it was definitely like I was trying not to say anything about the music video because I knew that would give it away. But it was like, yeah, like they were on a train. It definitely felt like a little more somber. Like,
Yeah.
uh, so I was like, okay, but like still the beat was like the sound was pretty good. But yeah, so that's been this week's episode. I'll try to remember to record right from the beginning next week. Although it might have saved this episode some time because if not, I feel like it'd be like a 2-hour episode or something.
Yeah, I gave a lot. I really like talking about the Kardashians. I went into a whole. I have to really next week for Rob. I definitely have to filter a
Oh
lot
man,
out.
Rob, I want to hear about. Okay, so yeah, that's been this week's episode. See you guys next week. Andrea, as always, go screw yourself.
Fuck off.